Yeah. So we have seen our last topic was box model, CSS3 box model, correct? And or what was the last topic? Color model, or
Box.
we have seen colors also, right? In the same topic or not? So colors also we have seen, yes or no?
I'm saying you apply to color borders to just to show like a few
Okay.
things you showcase like how color needs to be like what you can say, selected.
So we have
The
seen
part was pending on that like access A or something.
HSL, HSL.
HSL function, HSL A function was pending.
Yeah, correct, correct. So let me create the new folder, and you see my screen.
No, no, no. Please.
Yeah, I have shared my screen, and in the color model, so one thing was pending in the color model. In the color model, we have seen, just a minute, named color we have seen, hex values we have seen, RGBA function we have seen, and HSLA we need to see, correct? So when you talk about the HSLA, what do you mean by HSLA? What do you mean by HSLA? So when you say HSLA, HSLA is nothing but hue, saturation, lightness, and the alpha channel is, and the alpha channel you can say visibility or the transparency. So when you talk about the HSLA model, HSLA is a color model in the CSS3, that allows developers to define colors using the hue, saturation, and hue, saturation, lightness. See, HSLA is a color model in a CSS3 that allows developers to define colors using hue, saturation, lightness, alpha representation. The HSLA is an extension to the HSL color model, with addition of an alpha channel that specifies the opacity of the color, right? HSLA is an extension. HSLA is an extension of the HSL hue, saturation, lightness color model with the addition of an alpha channel that specifies the opacity of the color. This allows for the creation of the semi-transparent colors, enabling, here you can say, enabling greater control over the transparency of the elements on the web page. Here is the back here. Let's see how exactly this works. Here is a breakdown of what each component of the HSLA model represents. So here we can say hue, first hue, saturation, S, L stands for lightness, and A stands for alpha, and A stands for alpha. Now what do you mean by hue? This represents the actual color. This represents actual color expressed as an angle between 0 to 360 on the color wheel. on the color wheel. A red is 0 degrees. Remember that red is 0 degrees, green is 120 degrees, and blue is 240 degrees. So you need to remember this thing. Red 0 degree, green 120 degree, and the blue 240 degree. Saturation, see now, this determines amount of gray color. When you say saturation, this determines the amount of gray color. A saturation value of the 0% produces a shade of the gray, whereas the 100% represents full color. Whereas 100% represents what? Full color. The lightness represents how bright color is. Lightness represents what? How bright color is. So we will see exactly shortly. So here you can say this specifies how bright color is. A value of a 0% completely black. Here you can say completely black. 50% is normal and 100% is completely white. See now, 50% is normal and 100% is completely white. Alpha represents here you can say, this represents the opacity of the color. The alpha value can range from the 0 completely transparent to the 1 opaque, right? So now see, H ranges from 0 to 360. Okay, saturation is in the percentage, lightness is in the percentage. So let's create day, rename whatever we have written, day 09, and here we can say index .html and style.css. HTML, sorry, in the index HTML, HTML5. Here we can say HSL demo. Link the style, link style.css. Let's have this div and HTML body. We can say width 100 VW, height 100 VH, 100 VW, 100 VH, and to the div we can say width 20%, height 20%, and background color HSLA we can say. How much is the view? 120. Remember that the documentation. This represents the actual color expressed as an angle between 0 to 360. On the color wheel, red is 0 degrees, 120 degrees is green, and 240 degrees is blue. So here we can say 120. Saturation of the gray color. This determines the amount of gray color, right? So 0% produces a shade of a gray, whereas 100% produces full color. Here we can say 100%, lightness 50%, and alpha 1 we can say. Okay, and open with, sorry, reveal in Finder. Let me open it here. Let's add it over here. Okay, now if you can see this color, we have got this color because of this HSLA 120. 120 means what? See here, the colors, hue represents the actual color expressed as an angle between 0 to 360. 0 is a red color, 120 degrees is a green color, and blue is a 240 degrees. So here we have added 100%. Let's try to add 10%. Can you see some gray has been added? 100% means full color, whatever the actual color is, that one. 50%, here you can say, let's make 100%. What is the saturation? See, not saturation, here you can say lightness. This represents how bright color is. 0 completely black, 50% is normal, 100% is completely white. So let's try to make it 0%. Go here, refresh it. Can you see? Black. 50% is normal. Remember that 50% is what? Normal. So this is the actual green color. So whenever you say 0 degrees, it's red. Refresh it. 240 degrees, it's blue. 240 degrees, it's blue. Right? So this is also one of the color model. And that is nothing but what? HSL color model. Hue means angle, saturations, gray, lightness, illuminance means how much color bright would be, and the alpha. Alpha is the opacity, how much opaque. So if you say 0 or 0.3, right? Can you see one transparency related layer would be getting added on that top. Why you wrote dot before the style.css? Okay, just I have read your question, so it's better if you can unmute yourself and speak. Okay, so dot represents the current directory. What dot represents? Current directory. So here you are saying that in a current directory, this is the current directory, there is the style.css. So here you are saying that in the current directory means what? In the index HTML. Index HTML we have. So wherever index HTML we are having, wherever HTML we are index.html we are having in the same directory, that is nothing but the dot. Dot represents means what? The directory in which index.html is available, in the same directory there is a style.css. Getting my point? Hello? Did you understand? Okay. So this is about what? You can say this, what your question you have asked, and this is about HSLA, hue, saturation, lightness, and the alpha channel. Hue, saturation, lightness, and the alpha channel. If you have any question, go ahead and ask me. Is it clear?
Yeah, I missed this part, like, yeah, but I'll go through the video.
Yeah, no problem. So I have written that in the document also. What is a hue? When you say hue in the HSLA, H stands for hue, S stands for saturation, L stands for alpha, sorry, L stands for lightness, and A stands for the alpha, that is the visibility, transparency. So here I have written all the things. This represents the actual color expressed as an angle between 0 to 360 degrees. So H value will range from 0 to 360 degrees. 0 is red, green is 120 degree, and blue is 240 degrees. Saturation, amount of gray color in your color. The saturation value of a 0% produces shade of a gray, whereas 100% represents full color. Okay, that's why We have written the 100% over here. Otherwise, it will add a gray color into it. 40% gray would be added. Can you see 40% gray has been added? Let's make it fully transparent. Sorry, fully opaque. See, in the blue, little gray has been added. And here, instead of this, if you say 300, different color. In this way, we will work with the HSLA. A is common. We have seen A in RGBA also, right? So lightness, if you see lightness, the value of 0% is completely black, 50% is normal, and 100% is completely white. 0% is completely black, 50% is normal, and 100% is completely white. Where the alpha represents the opacity of the color, 0 completely transparent, 1 completely opaque. That's what we have seen here, HSLA. Let me push this. Yeah.
So what is the difference between RGB and HSL?
Okay. Just a minute.
Yeah, so just like so understanding, I'll just put it mine so you can confirm.
No problem.
RGB, we are providing RGB color like variation from 0 to 255.
Correct. Correct.
Here, instead of putting that into what you can say 0 to 255, we do have an option to 0 to 360. We can have like the same colors, right?
Correct.
RGB basically, but yeah, different variations, combinations. Green is actually the example.
Yes.
So different combinations. Lightness was not there. And the last part was already there. A part was already there.
There, yeah. So this was not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the RGB, you were only adding the colors and other things, right? Red, green, blue, only that much.
Right. First and last part was present. Not the
Yes. So these things are added the thing to the RGBA. So you were not able to control the addition of the gray color, and here you can say lightness, how much light has been added to the color. That was not part in the RGBA, but here in this model you can do that as well. HSLA, right?
So one question, like, what do you mean by light added? So those are colors, right? When we say transparency, I do understand the last part.
Correct.
But what do you mean? Gray color, even I can understand that, okay, we are mixing gray. What do you mean by light we are adding?
Yeah, see now, 50% means you can say normal. Now, if you make 60%, can you see it? It becomes a little brighter. White color has been added.
Okay, so basically two colors we are adding here. One is gray and one is white.
Correct. So here,
can that not be done using like 1 and 0, that transparency thing, or no?
So transparency, if you make 0, that would be completely transparent. You getting my point? It would be
there is no color added, it just transparent.
Yeah, it will. Okay. It is handling the transparency. If you say 0 to 1 between 0.5, sorry, 0.5, and here you will say 50% transparent.
Okay, so what I'm saying is like, okay, this color, right, here we have added 60% as a white, right? So can we do one thing, like, can we go back to that function? Okay. Add like 50% as a white and 0.6 as the like last function. 50 is normal, right, in that case?
Yeah, 50% means normal color. If you see here,
yeah,
just a minute. Let me open this, and if you can say lightness, this specifies how bright color is. How brightness, we have the setting in our TV also, brightness. How bright color is. 0% is completely black, 50% is normal, and 100% is completely white.
Okay, so okay, it acts as like a brightness as you mentioned.
Correct.
Can we try like just that one?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, okay, if you go with like 0.6, right?
0.6, yeah. Now?
Yeah. And save it and just try it. Like, will there be any, like, are we able to replicate? Oh, there is something. So if we can reduce that color length, I was just thinking that is it possible if we can skip white and we will be reproduced or will be able to generate the same color which we are using white?
It's a brightness filter on your photo. Brightness filter is something different and the opacity is something different. You will see something behind the thing, but this will not show you whatever behind that div, behind the particular div. If you want to see something is there behind the div, that you can handle by means of this. And how color bright is, that is handled by this. You getting my point or not?
Yeah.
Transparency.
No, I got it.
Okay. So I have pushed this code and you may check it. Is it clear, right? Shall I move ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So one more question. I hope you guys are updating your Git repositories. You are regularly pushing your Git repositories. Can you share your links of your Git repositories? Let me check. You are adding the code or not? Please paste it into the chat box. So whenever someone asks,
I'm not doing anything actually. So the till point 6, right? We tried to add the different files. Other than that, I have not added anything.
see, you are about to type all the code that I have typed over here from the day one.
Okay.
Regularly.
We'll do it.
And
Yeah, we'll do it and we'll push it.
Correct. And you would be pushing regularly to your Git repositories. So whenever, no, but you need to do that. Otherwise, it would be simply like you are watching the Netflix serial. It won't be like that.
No, I agreed. We'll do it. Sorry, I thought we'll have some practice sessions and then we'll try it. But yeah, we'll push it on the
So we would be having the practice sessions, but whatever code I type, that much code you also need to create day 1 to day 9 in your repo, or whatever you like. But if you follow this approach, it would be great. If you want to follow topic wise, some students follow topic wise approach, right?
we'll do it.
Yeah. So please do that. Complete till day 9. We have not progressed too much. So you might be thinking that topics are easy, but mark my words, whenever we start JavaScript, it would be pretty difficult. So you need to have your complete study material. If you are appearing for the interviews, this Git repository is a single point for you, that you don't need any certificate or something like that. You can show interviewer, you can put this link into your Git repo, you can put this link of your repository in your resume, and you can ask interviewer to check my repository. I'm practicing from last 3 or 4 months. So this would be the only single point of truth, because what happens over here, your commits get tracked by means of date. So on what day what you have performed, this is the truth, this is the irreversible. You cannot reverse it. It's like a blockchain. Once you make a transaction, you make it. So this is what proof that you really know something. And you will put this much link in your resume. And if you see this chart, now I'm also weak on the GitHub from last 1 year. So the more the greener, right? More task you are performing on the Git. And from here also you will get, recruiters would be getting attracted towards your profile from this contributions. 991 contributions in the year, whatever you contribute on the Git. So this is that marker. You don't need any certificate or anything. This only tells everything to the recruiters. And nowadays, the way we have social media account, Git is mandatory for every developer. It's not written anywhere, but your repositories will tell your coding style. Some companies are having that tools, they will just scan your profile and they will tell you how optimized code you write. So make sure that you will work rigorously on the Git. The way I am pushing the code, homeworks are also I am going to give. Presently, we don't have anything to homework, but whenever we learn the layouting and other thing, you would be getting a homeworks. That also you can put over here. And these commit messages are important. These commits are very, very important. Can you see? It's a proof that you are working from last many days. So interviewers will check this thing, recruiters will check these things. So requesting you just follow approach, and that's why we learned the Git. So learning Git, the purpose of learning Git was only that you should be working or regularly using it. Okay, let's move ahead to the topic. So we have seen colors. Okay, we have seen what? Colors. So another important property or another important thing I'm going to start now is about, let's talk about visibility. Selectors we have seen. Okay, fine. So let's talk about, okay, positions and floats. Fine. Before jumping to that part, let us see font related things. Fonts. Okay. Fonts. So how do you work with the fonts? So here I can say, let's use same file, no problem. To this div, let's create a class dot box, apply that class here, class box. Okay. Now, how do you work with the font? How do you work with the font? So let's have a paragraph, and I can say here class normal, 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 and here we can say dot normal. Now if you see here, we can apply the font family. Now what do you, okay, normal, NRML, we can say NRML, normal. So here we can say font family. See, now these many families are there: Franklin, Gothic, medium, Arial, narrow. So this depend on laptop to laptop. So let's have the Courier new, or let's have this thing. Now what is the meaning of this paragraph? And here we can say some random text. Let me get this text and paste it here and refresh it. Can you see font has been changed? If you observe carefully, the font has been changed. If I comment this, look at this and refresh it, can you see font is different? If I uncomment it, if you refresh it, it is different. Let's say font size and 2em. Refresh it. Now you might be understanding that this font is something different. Now, what is the font family attribute? You need to know the font family attribute. The font family property, here you can say, specifies the font family or a typeface to be used for displaying text within the element. It allows you to specify a list of fonts in order of preference separated by commas. If preferred font is not available, the browser will choose the next font in the list. If this is not available, it will choose this. This is not available, it will choose this. This is not available, this will choose this, and otherwise this will choose this, and like this. Font family, right? Font family, when you say font family, the font family property specifies the font family or the typeface to be used for displaying the text within an element. So we have a paragraph. How do we display this text? Right, using this font family. It allows you to specify list of fonts in order of the preferences separated by the commas. If preferred font is not available, the browser will use the next font in the list. Right? So I have written this thing. If Arial is not available, it will try to use Helvetica, other sans serif. Right? Now there is one more attribute called as font weight. See now here, font weight. So here we can say font weight, numeric values ranging from 100 to 900. 100 means thin, 900 means bold. Let's see 900 and refresh it. Can you see little bit bolder? If I say 100 thinner, right? If you say 10, refresh it, it will not work because values ranging from 100 to 900. So let's make 200, refresh it, a little change is there. So font weight 100 thin to 900 extra bold, thin to bold, that is the weight. Now whenever you say font style, the font style property, let's apply font style, italic, normal, oblique, italic, we can say, refresh it, go here and refresh it. You can see italic, bold, italic, bold, bolder, lighter, normal, italic and oblique are there is nothing called as bold. Normal, here we can say normal, oblique, something like this, italic, like this. So these are the, if you can see, normal, default font style, italic, text display in some inclined style, text displayed in the oblique style, similar to italic but less formal. So these are the font types, general font types. Right. Then one more attribute we already have seen, font size. Now what is EM? Can you please tell me? When you say EM, what do you mean by that? EM. EM. We have seen what do you mean by EM. We have seen this EM. If you open dimensions unit, there is something called as EM. This is the EM relative to the font size of the parent element, REM relative to the font size of the root element. So that EM I have used over here. Now see, whatever we have seen so far, I would be using that with the free hand. And if I ask you question, you should be able to answer that. And for that, you need to read this document as well. Right? So these are our class notes. And these are not as as lengthy as this. So I have created these notes from this official page only, right? This is way lengthy, and this is a synopsis of that part. So requesting you, please read this also. This Notion is one of the software. You get a mobile app also. You can use a mobile app as well for the Notion, right? So till this we have covered, till colors, and now we are understanding the fonts. Now we are understanding what? Fonts. So we have seen what do you mean by font style. There are three main font sizes: normal, italic, oblique, right? Then font size we have seen. The font size property determines size of the text characters within an element. It specifies the size of the font in units such as pixels, EMs, REMs, percentages, etc. Now we have seen there are two types of the units: absolute unit and the relative unit. Absolute units are the units which are actual measurement units, you can say shortly. But relative units are those units which are relative to something else, relative to parent, relative to another element, relative to root element, right? 10% of the parent, 20% of the parent, that are the relative units. So EM is one of the relative unit. Okay, so these are basic properties of the font. There are a lot of other properties available: font size, font family, font weight, font display, font variant, font stretch. Lot of other properties are there: font palette, font size adjust, font synthesis, right?
So when we say like okay, three types of font style, so we do have this like Times New Roman, Calibri.
No,
What
no, no.
comes into that? What are those?
These are the families.
Okay, that comes.
That comes under the families. So
Okay.
in the typography, there are three types. Here you can see. Can you see? If you hover the cursor over here on the font family, you will find what are the properties you have: normal, italic, oblique. Normal, italic, oblique. So if you want to read the detailed document, you can refer to this link also.
So one question example.
Yeah.
Like example, we are saying font style as italic, and we have given font family. When we say that, okay, so it will search italic in the first font family. If it is available, it will use that. If not, then it will move to a second family, right? Font
No,
family.
see, this is completely optional. You skip this part also. No problem. You skip that part also. That's absolutely fine. But this is a font, actual font. So we have one file which is downloaded on your computer. There are a lot of fonts downloaded on your computer. Browser tries to get that font. Getting my point? If this is available, if this is not available, it will go to this. This is not available, this will go to this. Correct?
Yeah.
But this is altogether different attribute. Just a minute.
Okay. No, I got it now.
Okay. Fine. So font style, there are three basic styles. Italic. So if you see, italic and oblique are same. You might think that italic and oblique are same. But if you hover the cursor over here, so 0 to 2, they have written something 0 to 2. Right. Now, let's go to the oblique. And here we can say 70 degrees. 70 DEG. Now go here. and refresh it. Font style oblique space. $20 DEG. Just a minute. Oblique 10 DEG. The font style properties space. Just a minute. I'm reading the official documentation. Yeah, if you see here, normal, italic, oblique, 40°. The italic font faces are generally cursive in nature, usually using the less horizontal spaces than their under styled counterparts, while the oblique faces are usually just sloped versions of the regular faces. So difference between italic and the oblique: italic are cursive and obliques are usually sloped versions of the regular faces. When the specified style is not available, both italic and oblique faces are simulated by artificially sloping the glyphs of the regular face, right? So you can use one more behavior called as font synthesis also to control this behavior. So there are lot of things they have given. They have given lot of things into this. So if you see this small caps, font style, lot of things are there in the font. But whatever we have covered, these are the basic things. And from these things, you should start thinking about the fonts. So whenever you say how to apply the fonts, first thing, you need to apply the family. Then you need to apply the size, weight, and the style. These are the basic things. With every font, you can do this thing. Okay. Now CSS3 gives you one more feature. CSS3 gives you one more feature to create your own fonts. What I'm saying, you can create your own fonts also. Can you see, using the custom fonts? So how do you use the custom fonts? Creating a custom font involves using @fontface. @fontface. Let's search for the font on the Google. We can say fonts. We can say fonts. I am here on this page, fonts.google.com. Can you see that? We are here, fonts.google.com. Let's try to find out the font. Any font. Let's try to find out the font here. Okay, let's go to the other website. Free fonts. This is important if you are developing a website and if you want to use one of the font. Yeah, see here. Let's take this cursive font. Old school. Let's take this font. I want to apply this font. I want to use this font. Or I want to use this font. Let's download it. And I'm putting it on the desktop. So we can go to the, let me go to the desktop. And Dark College. I'm unzipping it. Yeah. darkcollege.otf. I can copy this and let's take it to our folder, Dark College OTF. let's take in the day 9, move it, rename fnt dot otf, fnt dot otf. See now, so you need to create, you can say at font face. Let's go to the CSS, and here we can say at font face. Can you see font family? Here you can say my font, and the URL fnt.otf, fnt.src URL, this URL fnt.otf, and let's apply this, or let's have one more paragraph, and class we can say fancy, and let's copy this and this, and we can say dot fancy, 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 and font family, here you can say my font family, my font, and font size 2 em. Okay, we already have applied fancy. Now go here and refresh it. Can you see here? So font is getting applied. So let's add some padding from all 4 sides, and I can say 3 pixel. Okay, or we can say 1 em padding from all 4 sides, and the font family property specifies whatever. Can you see a custom font we have used? We created our own font, we downloaded the font from internet, and we use that font over here. Now can you tell me what do you mean by padding 1 em over here? What is padding 1 em?
It's the distance between content and the border.
Correct. It's a padding the distance around the content. So whenever you say padding, distance around the content is padding. Let's inspect it here, and can you see this is your content, and the distance around content is called as padding. So if you are appearing for the interviews, the first question you will get, explain the box model. Very important question. Even the experienced people gets confused in this question. This is the box model. Whatever you see over here, this is the box model. Explain the padding. The space around content is the padding. The space around padding is called as border. Presently we don't have. And the space around border is called as margin. Whatever the box you see over here, that is the box model only. So here we applied the padding 1 em, which means that around the content, so you said that around this content add some extra space so that my content will look like good, like this. And here we have seen, what do you mean by exactly font face? See, at font face you have used one rule called as at font face. Creating the custom font involves using the at font face rule. First CSS rule we have seen now, at font face rule in the CSS to define and use the fonts that are not commonly available on the user system. Now see, this is not available on the system. We have downloaded it. we have kept this font into this file fnt.otf. So this is not available generally. This is not available generally. You can use the custom fonts to give your website unique and distinct typography. Okay. And this is the step-by-step thing. You can download. See now, download the font is the first step. We have downloaded that. Then define the font face. We have defined the font face. Now if you can see here, download the font files in the different formats. See, presently I have used the OTF. Okay, but you might find .woff, .woff2, .ttf. Don't get jumbled with this. These are the all these things are the font format. The different formats are required for the compatibility across the different browsers. We have downloaded from the link, I think. Okay, da font, same website. We have da font, so I have given the website also here, da font. Now font face rule. So here comes a question, what are the CSS rules, right? After the fonts, I will create a new page, and here we can say page CSS rules. What do you mean by CSS rules? That we will see. What do you mean by CSS rules? We will see this one, but we are understanding font now. So download the font, define the font face. In your CSS, use @fontface rule to define the custom font, specify the font family name, and provide the URL of the files in the different format. So here you can provide in this way. Also, here you can say if this font is not available, you can say, here you can say Arial. Let's use Arial font. Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. If this is not available, go to this. This is not available, go to this. Not this, go to this. Now let's go to the browser and let me make some spelling mistake over here. Font 3 and refresh it. Can you see? It has went to, I think, Arial thing. This font is what? Arial thing. Right. Let's remove this Arial and let us say.
So example that if we have changed like if there is spelling mistake.
Yeah.
And if we are following Arial as of now. So if we can inspect, can we see Arial there? Like,
yeah, let us see. Good question actually. And my font. Which font is getting applied? Actually, my font 3. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Right click on the text, inspect it. Okay. In the styles panel. Okay. In the styles panel, find the section corresponding to the, okay. Check the computed. If you see here, can you see rendered font? Helvetica.
Okay, I can see only three because you might have various. Okay, got it.
So here you can see, or you have a little script. We can write, now see, you will get to know what's the use of the script. Let's give ID. Let's give some ID to this guy. Say some ID, or you can say fancy. ID is also fancy. Now refresh it. You can refresh it. So you can get the element. Say fancy, get the element fancy. 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 Okay. Computed style, get the computed style for this particular element. Get the computed style. Const font family. Here you can say font family, and you can print the font family, and you will get which font family is getting applied. And out of this, we are getting this Helvetica. So we can add few more lines of the script, and it can tell you that this is getting applied font family. You can inspect it here the way we have seen. So rendered font is Arial. See here, because my font is, we have made a spelling mistake, and simply make my font here. Refresh it, and can you see name of the font is a Dark College. Can you see that here? Dark College. Dark College is the actual name of the font. Dark College is actual name of the font that we have downloaded. Any other question? Let me push this much code. And here we can say font CSS3 font properties. CSS3 font properties, and apply the custom font. So how do you apply the custom font? So you will apply the custom font in this way that we have seen. So this is how you will download any of the font from the internet, right? So you may get a question like this. So stepwise procedure for applying custom fonts. So in that case, font face rule, you need to say this word, font face rule. If you don't say this word in your answer, your answer would be treated as incorrect. Font face rule. This is very important over here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, then we will see few CSS rules. We just see the CSS rules and we will learn them time to time. Likewise, we have studied the at font face is one of the CSS rule. There are media query, another one, import, another one. There are a lot of CSS rules available in the CSS3. We will see time to times. Any question?
No.
This is clear, right? About the font.
Yeah.
So what my request is that please make your Git repository up to date. And if you want to get any questions, you can share your Git link. Now you didn't ask me questions about your code. I want to see your codes. Are you doing proper coding or not? How shall I check? Or are you typing the codes in proper specification or not? All those things can be checked by means of the Git only. So it's my kind request to maintain your Git repositories regularly. Okay. Now what we will see, we will talk about tomorrow. I would like to talk about visibility. So this chapter is very important for tomorrow, visibility, and then we will start CSS3 layouts. So in the layouts, first we will see floats, positions, and then these other CSS properties we will see. So once we,
Is it possible to cover like I'm sorry, visibility and like media query as well?
yeah, it is
I
part.
have a couple of examples because I'm using here like
We can cover, but for the media queries you need to know before, you need to know some
okay.
other things
Okay,
as
we
well.
basically will be covering those. So
Yeah, so for the media queries you need to know what is layouting first. You need to know what is a flex box, what is a grid layout, and then and only then we can go to the media query. So everything is available over here. Whatever I have mentioned over here, everything we are going to cover. Okay.
yeah.
So you also read this document, revise it. These are the class notes, and detailed document is available over here. So I highly recommend to visit this detailed document frequently. These are just notes of our class, but this is whole and soul, everything. Fine. So let's conclude for the day. We'll meet tomorrow with new topic. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm disconnecting.